Hey everyone, Tech Rally here, and today I'm going to be talking about why tutorials suck and why you should focus on fixing errors instead. The title is a little bit clickbaity, I'll do admit, but trust me when I say this, tutorials are a great way to start off, but we've all heard this term before.
Tutorial hell.
Pause. This video is not sponsored by anyone, but if you are an aspiring developer to land that first job or a current developer looking to level up, feel free to hit that like and subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. Okay, so are we talking about tutorial hell again?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I made so many videos where I talk about the same problem regarding tutorials. The biggest problem with tutorials is that you're on this happy path to web development. Trust me when I say this is that there is no such thing as a happy path when you are a web developer. From my own personal experience, even last week, I was probably working 10 to 11 hours a day, debugging, reading, and solving errors, trying to get my code to work. In terms of actual lines of code written and output, it was very little. But to be able to wrap my head around all of these functions, these variables, all of this functionality of JavaScript talking to each other, it took me a lot of hours to pinpoint what exactly was my issue and how do I go about fixing it. I wish there was a little cheat sheet that would just tell me what to do and what not to do. But the reality is that there's no real one solution that can fix everything. I had to debug, read the errors, Google it, and just solve that issue at hand. In a tutorial, the instructor has already gone through the struggle of solving the bugs, giving you a nice, neat, wrapped project for you to kind of write clean code. If you're feeling a little guilty about tutorial hell and just not being able to debug errors, let me give you some comfort in knowing that when I started web development, I panicked whenever I saw red. Especially if I was watching a tutorial, I would watch that video over and over again if I ran into an error and just try to make sure my syntax was exactly matching. If that was not the reason why, then I would delete my file and start all over again. I was literally doing everything and anything except, can you guess it? Read the actual error. This was like the stupidest way to code, and I can't believe how much time I wasted just trying to start a project all over again. And it just mind boggles me to think that that was a period of my life where that's how I code. But if I can give you advice as an experienced developer, don't delete your code. Really just go back and fix that small error because it could be the smallest thing that's blocking your browser to load, to get your code to run, all of that stuff. I wasn't proud of myself regarding that situation, but it was one of those epiphanies where I realized, hey, maybe I should read the error. Knowing that you have to read the error is one thing, but to really understand it and how to solve it is another challenge. I'll be honest, even now at my level, I do struggle sometimes reading the errors, and in some instances it's very unclear. But the expectation for all developers is that you should know how to read basic errors. As you grow as a software developer, you'll start to notice patterns and error messages that seem to happen more frequently than others. And right away, you'll be able to understand, hey, this is the actual issue that's causing my code to break. Whenever you do get an error, I highly recommend you to slow down, don't panic, and just read the error. Even just reading the error is a big win because after you read it, you can identify what the issue is, and there's just two ways to go about it. Number one, you try to solve it yourself. You know what the error is, you look at the code, you figure out which line is causing the issue, and try to fix it on your own. Number two, if you can't solve it on your own, then you could copy that error line and paste it into Google or Stack Overflow, and hopefully someone will have an answer for you. A lot of times new developers can't get their questions answered because they don't really understand what the actual error is. Being able to identify the specific error related to your code will help other developers help you faster. So without further ado, I don't want to keep harping on this tutorial hell or you need to read errors. Let's use a real life example and I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's a really simple example, and if you're a JavaScript developer, you've seen this time and time again. So what we're going to debug is a type error, cannot read property of blank of undefined. And in this case, blank is just whatever key is undefined. So let's get to it, and hopefully you guys stay till the end of this video because it may be a little dry, I do admit, but this is what differentiates you going from a really newbie developer to someone that can kind of hold their own. So I'll see you at the end of the video. Bye. Hey everyone, it's good to see you again. And in my code, you can see that I have an array of products with different characteristics. So here we have title, price, category, and status. What's going to be a little bit different is product number 4, where status does not exist. So the first thing I'm going to do, just to kind of show you how this works, is I'm going to just console.log the products and run the code. And then you'll see this. Perfect. So this is kind of exactly what we see on the left-hand side. The second thing I want to do is just pull out and console log out the title. So console log the product titles. So here what we're going to do is we're going to do a for each on the products. And then we're going to do console.log product.title. And here we should expect this one, this one, this one, and this one. So let's run that code. Awesome. It says the first, second, third, and fourth. And so far, so good, right? We're getting the output that we want and everything's working fine. The next thing I want to do is to see if the products are in stock. And to see if it's in stock, you'll see that it's nested under a key called status. And here, let's do that. I'll put the stock information of a product. I can tell you right away that there's going to be an error, but let's figure out why. So here, let's do products.forEach console.log product.status.inStock. And let's run that code. Boom. It gives you true, false, true. And then it says type error, cannot read property in stock of undefined. So why is this happening, right? Don't freak out. We can read the error, right? It says type error, cannot read property in stock of undefined. That means that it's looking for a key called in stock. But the problem is that where it's referencing that keyword in stock, the original object doesn't exist. What the heck does that actually mean? Let's look at the array of objects and see what the differences are. You'll notice in the first object, there's a keyword called status, and then there's another keyword called in stock, and that's why it outputs true. Here it's the same thing, false. Here it's true. You'll notice in the fourth product, the status key doesn't exist. And you'll also notice that in stock doesn't exist. So the problem right now is it's saying that it cannot read the property in stock of undefined because number one, status is undefined, and then you're trying to do undefined dot in stock. And this is why the error is occurring. But how did I know that, right? Like, how did I know that it was the fourth product that was the problem, right? And what you can do here is read one level down. It says the error is happening on lines 47:30. So you'll notice that this line right here is line 47. And line 47 is what's causing the error. But it's also referencing to line number 30. So what's at line number 30? Line number 30 is where the product number 4 exists. So right off the bat, you can already see, wow, if I read the errors, I may not know exactly what the problem is, but at least I know how to translate the errors and see like, okay, what is actually causing my issue? And you can actually get a lot of information by just reading this one line of code here and then following up by looking at the lines here. If you even go down one level deeper, you'll notice that it's because this array.forEach is calling line number 47. So if you see here, it says forEach is calling this, and what is referencing to this information, the in stock, is happening on line 30. And you can kind of see that here in line 46, right? So 46 is where the forEach is happening. And then it goes up to 47 where you're trying to console log out the product.status.inStock. But to find this information, you're going back all the way up to here in line number 30, and that is the actual problem. This is how I, as a software developer, interpret errors and how I generally like to solve problems. Because it's not super clear when you're a total newbie and just looking at this and you're being like, what the heck is going on? Like, I don't really know. And you may be dealing with a lot of larger, outputs, and you may not be able to identify it right away. But just being able to slow down and just read these errors from even here to there, those 4 lines, it just tells you so much information that I highly recommend you to just take your time and just read. When worst comes to worst, what you can do is just copy this here and then Google it. In my Google, I just took out the cannot read property of the actual in stock because that's specific to your application. What you want to do is Google something that is somewhat generic, and then you can have other people give you the right solution, because no one's going to exactly know how to fix your specific situation unless they're really invested in you. And here you're going to be able to see a lot of different errors. Let's see what this person says. See, perfect answer, right? Seems like one of your values with the property key of value is undefined. Exactly. This is the same issue that I've ran into, many other JavaScript developers have run into. So if anything, I want to give you a word of advice is that you need to slow down, read the errors, and this is all part of what it means to be a software developer. Most of the times, tutorials will not give you and put you in a situation where you need to solve and debug these errors. So this is what I fully believe will make you a better software developer. And I highly recommend you to try to build something on your own, because not only is building projects more meaningful, it'll put you in a situation where you need to solve and debug errors on your own. I hope that this video was helpful for you and giving you a real life example just kind of brought into perspective of what it means to really be a software developer and why you should avoid trying to do these tutorials, because it doesn't make you better as a software developer. What's going to make you better as a software developer is those experiences that you get from being able to just go through that pain and struggle of building your own projects. If you found this video helpful, I would appreciate a like and subscribe. To all my aspiring software engineers, keep building developers. Your time will come. Bye.